Hello, welcome back to Learn Oikonomia. In this video, we are going to look into a very important topic in the arena of public finance. So, especially when the country is facing problems with respect to the global crisis created by the Russia-Ukraine war as well as the COVID pandemic, each and every nation have to deal with its budgeting. And here in this video, we are going to look into an important aspect of public finance, a very important aspect when it comes to budgeting, that is zero based budgeting. Okay, let's get started. First of all, we are going to look into what zero based budgeting is. Then we will be looking into the advantages as well as disadvantages of this type of budgeting. This type of budgeting or the zero based budgeting is a kind of budgeting where all expenses must be justified for each new period. Okay, here we start from zero base. That is why it is known as zero based budgeting. Every function within an organization is considered for its needs as well as cost. So why do we need a particular project? Why do we need a particular scheme? So this is what we looked first of all. So a project is identified first, its need is identified first, then we look for its cost. If you go for that particular project or scheme, this project would cost how much, that question is asked, and the answer to this question is very important. The answer is something which plays a very important role in this kind of budgeting. Okay, the budget then built around what is needed for the upcoming period. We know that when we go for budgeting, we will be taking into consideration what the actual expenditure of the previous period and the estimated expenditure for the next period, right? So here we go for a wide calculation of the cost involved for this particular project for the upcoming period, regardless of whether each budget is higher or lower than the previous one. So we are not going for any kind of comparison here. This budgeting is a technique which is used by many companies, and it is used by many families as well as many individuals as well. When we go to the details of this kind of budgeting, we will be able to understand how we not deliberately or how we use this budget in our day-to-day life as well. So this might not be deliberate attempt, but this can be this might be happening by chance, or this might be something that is not deliberate. Okay, so these budget are something which helps the managers to tackle their cost aspect. That means it helps the managers to deal with a lower cost in the company. Okay, so with that we go to the details of this budget. How can this zero based budget work? Especially in the arena of business, this type of budgeting helps top level strategic goals to be implemented into budgeting process, because this is something detailed oriented in nature. This budgeting helps to go for what to say go for a rolling process over several years, and this will be helping lower costs by avoiding blanket increase or decrease to a prior period's budget. That's what I have already told you. We are not going for any kind of comparison, comparing this year's cost with previous year's cost, or this year's expenditure, estimated expenditure, with previous year's actual expenditure. So however, we need to understand that this is a time consuming process. Okay, this would be taking more time than the traditional cost based budgeting, and this budgeting, zero based budgeting, is mainly used in business, individuals, and in families also use this budgeting. We'll be discussing that here. Coming to how this budget, zero based budget, is different from a traditional budgeting. In the case of traditional budgeting, there would be a call for incremental increase over the previous budget, right? So in the traditional budgeting also, we could see that it analyzes only few new expenditure, whereas in the case of zero based budgeting, we'll be starting from zero. Okay, we do not make any kind of what to say, a justification for both old and new expenses. We are just starting from zero. Zero is our base, and zero based budgeting is something which aims to put the onus on managers. Why this is doing is that this helps to justify expenses, and this helps to optimize cost. Okay, so we are not concerned about revenue at this point of time. We are just concerned about cost. We need to optimize cost. So that is the main motive right now. We are not concerned about profit, or we are not concerned about revenue at this point of time. What are the examples of zero based budget? We have seen that zero based budgeting is used by businesses or managers, it is used in families, it is used by individuals. So here, uh, just suppose that there is a company, this is a construction equipment company, and this company is implementing a zero based budgeting. And here the company notices that cost of certain parts used in the final product, and also it deals with outsourcing to another manufacturer, and this has increased by 5% every year. So this is what the company notice the company notices. Okay, now the company can make those parts in house using its workers, right? After weighing, after making the weight of the positive and negatives, I mean, after looking into the advantages as well as disadvantages, the company would be finding to make its parts more cheaply than the outside supplier. Because why? If the price of its what to say, its parts are less in the market, then, or if the price of its products are cheaper in the market compared to the products offered by other companies, then this company would be able to sell more, right? So in that sense, the company want to reach more customers. Instead of blindly increasing the budget by a certain percentage and masking the cost increase, the company would be identifying a particular situation where it could decide to make a part itself, or it could buy the part from some other supplier for its end products or the final products. In the case of traditional budgeting, this won't be allowed. So there won't be any provision for cost drivers within departments to be identified. Zero budgeting is more granular process. It's a more granular process in the sense that it aims to identify and justify the expenditure. Okay, so here you have to see the advantages here. First of all, when managers think about how each dollar is spent, the highest revenue generating operations come into greater focus. But in this case, we are not concerned about revenue, we are just concerned about cost. So it would be offering a number of advantages, including focused operation, lower cost, budget flexibility, as well as strategic execution. Lower cost would result because there won't be any misallocation of resources in this case. Coming to the disadvantages, as in the case of every other aspect, zero based budgeting is not free from disadvantages. Here too, we do have disadvantages since we are not looking into revenue. That is one of the important disadvantages here. And also we need a lot of resources, we need a lot of time to deal with zero based budgeting. That too is identified as a very common disadvantage here. And also it is it is something which looks from a shorter perspective. Okay, so it might reward short term perspective in the company by allocating more resources to operation with highest revenues, but we are not concerned about revenue, we are just concerned about cost. So that's all for zero based budgeting. I request you to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. And also, I request you to um, uh, be a part of my Telegram channel and Telegram group. I'll be providing the links of the same in the description box. That's all for today. Thank you.